This video is going to teach you how to make an original sculpture. You might be watching this video because we are all making skulls or calaveras for Day of the Dead, for Dia de los Muertos, or you might be making another original sculpture, okay? But this video will show you how to do both. So in order to make original sculpture, it's important to note that big hunks of solid clay will actually blow up in the kiln because the moisture will try to release and the air will try to release, and if there's not enough space for the air to release from, it will blow up. It won't blow up the kiln, it's just the sculpture itself will blow up. So we have to make our sculpture hollow. So this video is going to show you one way to do that, okay? So if you're watching this video, you should have already learned how to make a pinch pot. So if you're making a skull, you're going to get a pretty big chunk of clay, and you're going to have to make 2 pinch pots. So with a big hunk of clay like this, you kind of have to slap the balls a little bit. Anyway, and then you are going to press and turn until you get 2 pinch pots. Sometimes you have to use your hands like this, all right, until you get 2 pinch pots about the same size. We're not really worried about like making it super smooth or anything like that because you'll see why in a minute. But once you have 2 pinch pots, not too thin, not too thick, and they are about the same size so they fit together, that's when you're going to learn the new technique. So the new technique you need to know in order to attach something is scoring. This is what we call scoring. You can take this, or you can use your scorer, or you can use a needle, and you're basically going to make little scratches all around the outside of the pinch pot. You're going to do this on both sides. So you're going to score, after you make 2 pinch pots, you are going to score both sides of both lids of the pinch pot. And after you have it scored, you're going to take this little container here, which is called slip. And slip is basically liquid clay. And I want you to take the liquid clay and put the liquid clay on the pinch pots, like so. All right, and I'm just kind of putting it all on the edges of don't pour it in there, okay? Just kind of dab it in there because you don't want it to get too wet. So now I've got 2 lids that are scored and slipped. So I'm going to take the 2 pinch pots and I'm going to put them together, their lids together, and I'm going to kind of just gently go back and forth with my hands. All right, see how I'm just kind of taking my hands and just kind of like going a little bit back and forth? All right, that's going to help it stay together. Now, the next part is welding. So after you score it and you're gonna push your thumb together, down or up, it doesn't matter, to make sure that these 2 pieces of clay become 1 piece of clay. Okay, so these 2 pieces of clay, we want them to become 1 piece that's going to be hollow inside. If you have some extra clay that's kind of building up, you can kind of just take that off, but this is called welding. So I'm going to weld this together. All right, so now I've got this big ball that is 2 pinch pots together and it's hollow. So the next step is I want to kind of shape it. So I'm trying to kind of make it into this shape. All right, so first I'm just going to take my board and I'm just going to kind of like smooth it all out. Okay, I'm just kind of tapping my board around so that I'm going to make a shape that's going to end up looking like a skull. So I'm just tapping, all right, and I'm going to get something where I'm going to start to figure out what part would be the front of this skull, maybe like this. So then when I figure out where the front's going to be, I'm going to kind of tap where it goes, okay? And after you tap, you can kind of smooth it out. Don't work with it too much. You've noticed if you work with this clay too much, it starts to get dry. Okay, we're just trying to get the shape right now. Once I have like a general sort of oval shape, to make the skull, we're going to make it kind of like a face. So it's going to be a little bit bigger at the bottom and a little bit smaller at bigger at the top and a little bit smaller at the bottom. All right, I might even want to like the front of it, just flatten it out just a little bit. Now I'm going to take my fingers, and I'm going to try to make it look like the skull, because you'll notice on our face, everyone's skull goes in. We basically need to kind of choke it like this. Ugh. So we're going to kind of choke it with our fingers, and even maybe go around in a circle to make it look like, to make the jawline where the mouth is going to be. All right, so I'm just kind of shaping it into, everyone's is going to be a little bit different. Everyone's skull is going to have a different shape, and even if you make another one, it might be different the second time you make it. All right, so now, and this is the point to where I'll probably have some pictures for you that I'll pass around, different images of skulls that you can look at, and you are going to draw the, let's see if I can do it to where you can see it. You're going to draw the eyes on, and, oh, I don't like the way that looks. So that's a good thing about clay. You can kind of like redo it. All right, you're going to want to smooth it out and everything first before you start drawing. But after you have it smoothed out, I'm doing this really quickly so the video is not super, super long. All right. So yours is actually going to look a lot better than this because you're going to take more time. All right. But after I draw my face, okay, I'm going to say that mine's going to look something like this. Okay. Then I'm actually, so I just drew that on with my needle or a pencil. But the next thing you're going to do is you're actually going to cut it out. So you're going to put your needle through into the center, and you are going to cut out the eye, other eye, nose. The nose is usually upside down heart, but there is another way to do it. I can show you if you want to know. And so when you cut it out, you might need to kind of like reshape it just a little bit, and that's okay, all right, from your drawing, and you're going to have to smooth it out a little bit, all right, and then I'm going to cut this out. Now, the last thing I need to cut before I start decorating this, all right, so now I have it cut out. This is going to be a candle holder. So a candle needs to fit underneath the skull. So you'll notice this one doesn't quite, the candle doesn't quite fit underneath the skull. It kind of does. Actually, this one does, but barely. But we want to make sure this one is big enough, though. It's definitely going to have space to fit underneath the candle, because these are going to be put up at the school, but they're also going to be put up at Garfield Park, where all the altars are for Day of the Dead on November 2nd. So we're going to put all these up for James Lick so that your families can come see them. It'll be nighttime, and the candles will be glowing through the eyes, kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. So it'll be very, very, very cool. So the last step before you decorate your skull is to cut out a really big hole in the bottom so that the candle will be able to fit underneath the bottom of the skull. Okay? Now is the time to start decorating it. So you'll see how this person, when they decorated their skull, a lot of times they have a flower around the face. All right, roses and marigolds, of course, are a big part of Day of the Dead. A lot of it's just like really cool decorations. You can do different lines. All right, you can do all sorts of decorations on the top of the heart, on the top of the skull, on the back. You can write Dia de los Muertos, or it doesn't matter, whatever you want to write. You could write the name. If this isn't being made to actually honor someone who has passed away, you could write the name of that person who, maybe a family member or someone has died, and you want to honor them with this sculpture. That could be a really interesting tribute that you could put in. Okay, so this is basically step one. You're going to spend a lot more time doing it. I did mine super fast so that the video wouldn't be so long. But this is what you're going to want to create for your original sculpture.